I know why he's smiling.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the April 7th Board of Commissioners meeting to order. Will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. First up on our agenda is the approval of 2 sets of minutes.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion. We approve the minutes from our March 17th meeting as well as the Township Assistance Appeal meeting of March 3rd, 2024.
Second.
Motion and second to approve both sets of minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Accounts payable and vouchers.
Mr. President, I'd like to recommend the claims dated March 19th through April 7th, 2025 be approved without exception.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second to approve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. We have a payroll.
Mr. President, I would also like to recommend the payroll dated March 28th, 2025 be approved without exception.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the payroll. All in favor say aye. Opposed? That passes. All right, we got a few ordinances coming up here.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion. We hear ordinance 2025-08-CM, Arbor Homes A to R1A.
You want Uzo?
Oh, I'm sorry, I did that in
Uzo
the wrong
amendment
order.
first.
I'm sorry. That's Uzo Amendment 117. Sorry about that.
Second.
Okay, Ryan.
All right, good morning. Our first item here is basically cleaning up an existing tool that's in the zoning ordinance to more clearly specify that the administrative officer has the sole ability to request a termination of a special exception before the Area Board of Zoning Appeals. The current language leaves it wide open to any staff member, member of the public, and the administrative officer is the zoning enforcement officer for the locality. So it really is the best place for that person to have that authority as just one of other tools that to bring compliance with the zoning ordinance. So this would not be the only tool. There could be just typical zoning enforcement actions if someone has granted a special exception and they've exceeded its mandates. The zoning enforcement officer could apply fines, liens, to try to bring compliance with someone that is out of compliance and not communicating. And so the termination would sort of be another tool in the box. So we're just sort of clarifying what's who should have that responsibility to request such a thing. You can't terminate it himself. The Board of Zoning Appeals would have to take that action, but that's it in a nutshell. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Anyone from the audience like to speak in favor or oppose to this ordinance? Seeing no one. Jennifer?
Byers?
Yes?
Murtaugh?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Ordinance 2025-8CM passes 3-0.
Okay, next one.
I'll get it right this time. Mr. President, I'll make a motion. We hear ordinance 2025-09-CM, Arbor Homes A to R1A.
Second.
Okay. Well, from a land use planning point of view, which is our forte, this proposal is well in line with how we handle land use planning. This particular part of the township is actually currently under study, so we don't have a formal plan except for the original 1981 plan. And honestly, its prescriptions largely apply here, that where there is availability to have public water and sewer extended into a site, in this case from an adjacent site, that that the, in this case, residential uses would be appropriate. And so that's really the root of our recommendation for approval. On top of that, the proposal does include some commitments that have evolved over time as the developer has consulted with the public and with elected officials and staff. And so staff appreciates their openness to being flexible and, providing alternatives. And so we're happy to, we were in agreement with the commitments as they've evolved, and we are recommending approval. So we're happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Petitioner?
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Dominic Dreyer with Arbor Homes. If it's needed, our business address is 9225 Harrison Park Court, Indianapolis, Indiana. Sorry, I don't have a clicker, so we can go to the next slide. I've got a short, a presentation here. I'll try to get through as quickly as possible. But Arbor Homes is an Indiana-based company, based and founded home builder. We've been building here in Indiana for 30 years. Go to the next slide. We'll get to the meat of this. There we go. In regards to this site that we're looking for a rezone outlined here in red, it's generally at the corner of the southwest corner of West 500 South and 231. The total site is 100.57 acres. You can go to the next slide. This is the current zoning map. As you can see, there we are located around agricultural land to the south, residential R1 to the north, and R1B, R1A to the east. We believe that this is very compatible with our R1A zoning that we're requesting with a certain amount of R1 designated lots. It's very compatible with the area surrounding it. In addition, as staff has noted, we have received a positive approval from staff as well as from APC last month. From the staff report, this was lifted. Staff can support this rezone request because the community has a need of additional housing units because of its proximity to schools and major transportation thoroughfares, and most importantly, the developer's commitment to extend utilities to the site. We can go to the next slide, please. This is the current concept plan. I know we've come far from where we initially landed, and I'll go through those changes briefly here in a little. But again, 105.7 acres is the site. The current zoning is A for agricultural. We are proposing a zoning of R1A with an area of R1 standard lots. Those would be the purple lots, the orangish colors, a little colorblind, would be the R1A lots. And again, this is just a concept plan at this point. Anticipated lot count based on this is 244 lots. So from our initial proposal, it was 306. You can see we've really dropped that a lot with switching from an R1B to R1A and then extending that R1 area as well. We're proposing inside this, there'll of course be internal sidewalk systems on both sides, so it'll be very navigable by the residents in there. A walking trail that'll utilize some of the common area. Open space, a central playground and park will be located, we're thinking in the middle of that middle circular area. That'll be very central to and a nice amenity for the community. In addition to the R1 lots commitment, we have also agreed to a landscaping buffer along our frontage along West 500 South. We think, when that hits maturity, it'll really blend in well with the north side of 500 on what Rainy Brook, that kind of buffer they have there. And I've got a diagram of what exactly we're proposing on a slide in the future here. You can go to the next slide, please. So just to get you up to speed, our original petition was R1B. We had a 306 yield count there. That's the concept plan on the left. After we met with we sent out a neighborhood meeting. We had a virtual neighborhood meeting last year, and it had we made changes to that northern area where you see those purple lots, purple pinkish lots, and added an area of R1 homes. We thought that would be a nice buffer, transitionary area between the R1 lots found in Rainy Brook to our site. That was about 23 lots. It brought the total lot count to 292 lots. Go to the next slide, please. Post that meeting and post our first initial APC meeting, so you can see where we left off on that's what we presented to APC. We did receive an inconclusive vote at that first initial meeting. We came back last month, and I think we've made some significant changes to the site. Probably the largest being we did either upzone or downzone, however you like to phrase it, from R1B to R1A for all the lots, and then extended that purple R1 lot standards further south. So now that's about 58 lots of the total 244 we're looking at here. So over 20, about 25%, I think, just under. And then we would have 186 R1A lots. So from initial petition to today, that's like a 60-something lot decrease from what we initially proposed. Okay, we can go to the next slide, please. This is just a diagram of that R1A area, and we have agreed to commitments to having that lot standard there. It would be at least 58 lots minimum. Again, the R1 lot standard is 10,000 square foot minimum lot size with 75-foot lot width, and that's just the minimum. So through here, there'll be larger ones. That's just the typical lot, or what we have to at least hit. And again, these little lots at the north with dots on them, we would propose that those would have some kind of rear architectural feature, so that if they were visible, probably once our buffer does grow to maturity, they probably wouldn't be very visible anyways, but they would have some type of detailing in the back, whether it's extra masonry or a rear projection like a sunroom, something along those lines. And we've just labeled those as rear high visibility lots.
And before we leave this slide, so is area A just the area to the north, or is it all the purple lots?
It is all the purple
Okay.
lots here. Yes, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, we maybe could make a better diagram there, really showing that. But yeah, it's all the purple lots, and you'll see the lots just. So there isn't any confusion. I'm just now noticing it to the east there are yellow. On our actual concept plan, they're that pinkish color. We changed that for the presentation to highlight that they're different than R1B. So those are actually the R1A lots to the east and south there, the yellow ones. But the purple lots is that area A, okay. R1. Okay. Next slide, please. This is that landscaping buffer I discussed earlier. Type A is something listed in your UZIA, or either in your subdivision or your zoning ordinance. This would be a recorded commitment as well. It would be at least 55 foot wide. There'd be some kind of undulating mounding there. Every 30 feet, there would be at least 3 evergreens and 6 shrubs, consistent with that diagram there. We had our site planners kind of put together this rendering here to give some context to what it will look like. So you can see it will, at full maturity, it will provide some really nice looking landscaping on the road. I think, again, keeping consistent with what you see there currently on the north side. Next slide, please. We are proposing a mixed product development. So we have Arbor Homes and Silverthorne Homes. Arbor Homes is our traditional single-family product. It's we're Arbor Homes here, so that this is what our company was founded on. We have 12 floor plans. Each of those have about 5 elevations, and I know when I started in home building, I was like, "What's an elevation?" It's one floor plan, 5 elevations. They can look very drastically different on the facade, though the internal floor plan would look the same for that same floor plan. So And then each of those has, multiple levels of masonry that our buyers can choose from. So when you're driving down the streetscape, even though it says 12, really it's like 100 and something when you add all the permutations. And we do require anti-monotony standards, what we call it in our HOAs. So same house can't be built next to it or across the street. So yeah, these are single and two-story family floor plans. They go anywhere from 12 to 3,200 square feet. This is an example of some of those different elevations and floor plans. Silverthorne Homes would be the other home series we would be offering in this neighborhood. This is, again, traditional single-family, 10 floor plans. Those each have 5 elevations as well, so multiple options for our buyers to choose from. Would still have the same, anti-monotony standards required. Single and two-story floor plans. They can go from 1,800 to 3,200 square feet. With all of our homes, whether it's Arbor or Silverthorne, you go through our design center. Buyer picks the lot. They get the option to, add on those fun things like sunrooms or do their interior stuff as well. But and here's some character exhibits of the Silverthorne homes. I think at this point, I just want to say thank you. I think, from where we began to where we stand here today, I'm personally very proud of what this neighborhood hopes to look like upon a successful rezone. So, if you have any questions, happy to field them now.
Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We will open this up if there's audience members. We would ask that you please stay within a 3-minute talking period. Our attorney will be the official timer and such on that. So is there anyone who would like to speak initially in favor of this rezone? Not seeing anyone opposed to this rezone. Any questions from the board?
No, sir.
Jennifer?
Brown,
Yes.
Byers,
Yes.
Murtaugh.
Yes.
Ordinance 2025-9 CM passes 3-0.
Thank you. Okay, another rezone ordinance.
Mr. President, I move that we hear ordinance 2025-10-CM rezoned Z957 Max Convenience Stores LLC.
Do you have a second?
Oh, second.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, housekeeping, I don't think the commitments got mentioned in the Arbor Homes one. Do you want to just quickly represent that you're accepting the commitments?
Exactly. Okay. In the form of a motion? Or?
Yeah, I think probably, just because it was all attached, it might be arguably have come through your motion originally, but I just think the way we've been doing things, that you should do a motion to get the commitments on that.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we accept the commitment that went along with ordinance, sorry, 2025-09-CM.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the commitments attached to the Arbor Homes rezone. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That passes. All right, we go, did I get a second on that one, the next one?
Did you second that one?
He did.
Yes.
Yeah,
it is.
so
Yeah.
I
think it's on the
apologize for
floor.
the
Yeah.
parliament dysfunction here, but
All right. Okay, this is the Max Convenience Store LLC. We are in the Romney area, and appreciate the petitioner being very upfront about their proposal. They want to create what we are now defining as a fueling center. So with, convenience store, and this definition was recently created and approved in the UZO, essentially to address situations like this, where you have something that is sort of a hybrid. It's not simply a gas station serving passenger vehicles, nor is it simply a truck stop that's catering to that class of driver and vehicle. It's somewhere in between. And so as the market has generated these sorts of uses, we felt it was time to classify them and assign them in the UZO so that they are appropriately placed. So Fueling Center is a combination gas station truck stop that is no larger than 4 acres and has no more than 4 semi-truck parking spaces and fueling lanes. So if the truck's going to spend the night there can only be 4 of them. So, and then obviously if a developer is interested in going bigger than that on the truck side, then we have the truck stop definition. So the our objections to this rezone really are rooted in the in the location. In our opinion, it's kind of too close into town. There was a provision for a separation between residential uses and kind of the leading edge of where the fueling center would be. That was struck out of that ordinance provision for the fueling center. And so the definition moved forward. There are 3 houses, we list them in our staff report, that are, in our opinion, just a little too close to this, but they were there first, so in our opinion, the fueling center needs to show deference to that. The use itself, like I said, this, as with the truck stop, kind of belongs more kind of on the edge of town if it's going to be near town. This is just a little too close in our opinion, so, but we're happy to answer any questions if you have any. Otherwise, we are recommending denial.
Okay, any questions?
No, sir.
Petitioner?
Okay.
Okay. Good morning, Kevin Riley with RTS Law representing the petitioner. As Ryan mentioned, petitioner's plan is to construct a Circle K gas station on this site. I would note that there has been significant support in the community. In advance of the Area Plan Commission meeting, we submitted a petition signed by 64 people in support of the rezone. I've submitted a couple of additional letters we have received since then to you. Despite this support, there are some neighbors who have voiced some concerns specifically related to traffic, light, and truck parking and noise. I guess to address traffic, first of all, this property is located at the intersection of State Road 28 and US 231, both major thoroughfares that handle a high volume of traffic. Our data shows 6,000 semi-trucks per day currently travel in that area in addition to cars. Our intent is to capture that existing traffic as opposed to creating additional traffic. We don't anticipate that trucks in particular will be diverted to this site simply because there is a new gas station there. We are projecting between 26 and 30 trucks, semi-trucks per day will use the high-speed diesel pumps. And again, as mentioned, we don't expect traffic to divert to this location. In terms of the noise, light, and truck parking, do we have the slides that were submitted area plan, or do I have to resubmit those? I can't. Are those part of the record?
I don't think it's part of your package.
Okay, fair enough. So I did put in front of you a new site plan that we are proposing. It is non-binding, but it is a bit different than what we proposed in the past. And the two differences are, pardon me, you will see in red to the north side of the property is an extension of the buffer yard. That's what we could do without obstructing sight lines. So we did add some additional buffering to the north, and we are committed to adding an additional row of evergreen trees between the retention pond and the buffer yard that is shown to the west there. So you'll have basically an extended buffer yard on that west property line. In terms of light, we had submitted a lighting plan, area plan commission. I apologize that it's not here, but essentially it showed that the lighting for this site would be directed in so that it is not affecting properties outside of the site footprint. With respect to truck parking, I know there's been some mention of that. We are committed to installing signage that says that no overnight parking will be allowed there. We think that's something that can be enforced by the employees working at the store. We would be willing to put up a sign that prohibits parking longer than 15 minutes. But just to be very frank, that's going to be harder to enforce, especially during the daytime hours. But we'd be willing to do that for those roughly 4 parking spaces. And then in terms of additional noise, as mentioned, this is a high-traffic area. Dana Southern, the property owner, is here today and has mentioned to me on a couple of occasions that if you're standing on site as it currently exists, there's already a great deal of noise, so we don't anticipate that this is going to create an additional problem or an additional significant increase in noise. We do think that this is an appropriate zone for this location. In the area, you have HB, Highway Business, which is the existing gas station to the north. You have general business, and you have I-3 already in the nearby area. One thing that we have learned since kind of talked about since the APC meeting, and Daryl Burge is here from the community, we've learned from him that a lot of the truck equipment, or excuse me, the farm equipment cannot access the pumps at the existing gas station. So as a result, they have to go to Lafayette or Linden to refill. And it was stated at the Area Plan Commission by several people that this is a farming community. So we do see a benefit to having these diesel pumps at this location so that they can serve those individuals, farmers that need that. So we received a positive recommendation from the board at the Area Plan Commission hearing. We respectfully request your approval, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
So Kevin, by adding the trees and brushes and stuff like that, I'm assuming the concept of that is A, to buffer the noise, but B, to buffer lights shining into people's homes and such?
I don't know that it'll buffer lights so much. I mean, the idea was just to provide some added protections, if at all. So I guess, I mean, there's that possibility. I mean, we really did it as an attempt to alleviate concerns that the neighbors had voiced. I don't know what impact it's going to have. I mean, it certainly will look nice to have that buffering there, at least to the north. And Steve Harrison, our project engineer, if you've got something to add, you can. Where else? To the north? Yeah. You can introduce yourself.
Brendan O'Hara, 2050 North Alabama Street, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46202, here on behalf of Circle K. It was on the plan that we presented at APC, but if you guys remember, and let me see what they're looking at. But if you can see the trees, we were also proposing a fence.
He's talking about here.
Okay, I got you. But for the Hubert family, to the folks to the west, this brown line, that's a fence, and we could probably extend it if needed, but no fencing up here on 28. Does that answer your question?
Well, somewhat, and I guess the other question is, basically, you need a major release of the state allowing all these entrances and exits, correct?
Correct.
I mean, the biggest negative I've heard about this is lights shining in my front window and around by way. And that's why I'm glad to at least see these bushes and such to potentially stop that.
Yeah, I think that is a legitimate concern, and that's a concern that we tried to address and mitigate with folks to the west. I don't know that for Joe Reynolds and the people on 28 that's I think this helps, but because there is so much semi-traffic, particularly on 28, that's a little bit harder to address for the folks that live on State Road 28. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Kevin, can you go over exactly what's in the commitment itself?
Sure. In the commitment, I know that we restricted uses, so the idea was to try to limit what we could do here in the general business zone from what is typically allowed. So we came up with a list of uses that's attached as Exhibit B, prohibited uses. So these are all uses that would otherwise be permitted in general business that will not be permitted at this site if it is rezoned, if the rezone is approved. And we tried to pick, include things that we thought neighbors or generally people might make an objection to. We've got the adult bookstore, hotel, all of the adult uses, a crematory, boarding kennels, mobile home dealer. So that was just something that was a list that we came up with that we thought would satisfy concerns or help address concerns, I should say.
Okay, any other questions? Once again, we will open this up to the public. If you are in favor of this rezone, would you please, if you're able to speak, just make sure you please sign your name in for our records.
Darrell Burge. For the record, there was a convenience store and a gas station on that corner before those people had their houses there. That was many years ago. I dated one of the daughters. We need the fuel convenience because you can't get into the Romney gas station. You can't get in with a loaded trailer. If you want to get fuel there, you got a bobtail to get in. If the cost is anywhere from 25 to 60 cents a gallon higher there, if you go to town and get it. And if you go to Linden, you got to wade through a pond to get to the pumps. And you go around the station, you got a miniature Badlands to go through before you get back out to the road. And it's for me, it's a added convenience, cost saver, and I think everybody that drives a truck would appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Darrell. Anyone else would like to speak in favor of this rezone? Anyone opposed? Once again, please sign your name in.
Good morning. My name is Marty Anderson. My husband and I live on a small farm on 28 West. Mr. Riley has already said that Romney is a noisy town because of the railroad tracks. Then cars kick up dust. We're actually a small farming community and we're surrounded by farm fields. Some of this ground has been in the same family for generations. As far as the railroad tracks, people who have moved to Romney knew the railroad tracks were there, so there doesn't seem to be a problem. There's no one alive who knew that area before the railroad tracks. As far as dust, yes, we've got it. The wind does blow that around here, especially during harvest. But what does Circle K bring to Romney? They are a Canadian multinational operator of convenience stores. Their headquarters are in Tempe, Arizona, but they are owned by a company based in Laval, Quebec, Canada. Who will benefit, them or us? During the planning of this fueling station, no consideration was given to those who live in close proximity. 3 homes will be torn down. 1 home will have a fueling station as their backyard. One of the homes on the north side of 28 will have the headlights of every vehicle coming out, flashing in their house, their bedroom 24/7. These people cannot just pack up and move. This is their home. They want to live there. We were told that semis would not be parking there overnight. Who is going to stop them? A lot of truckers are looking for a place to park. Along with that comes the idling motors, the smell of diesel fuel, and more trash, and we have enough from the other station. Adding this to an already congested intersection is going to create more chaos. The current gas station restaurant has 4 driveways. People come flying out of there without looking to beat the light. There is added traffic and delivery trucks coming and going from Dollar General, also at this intersection. And traffic in general has increased, making for long backups at the light. Having semis entering and exiting at this intersection will just add to this difficult situation. And there is always the worry of a fuel spill. It happens and it will. Their property line is very close to the bridge over the ditch. This ditch flows into the Wheel Creek. If the creek is contaminated, what about the wells of the homeowners around here? The Wheel goes through farms and recreational areas, and it will cause great harm to the many different species of wildlife that we enjoy and protect. They depend on this water. As the semis exit onto 28 West, going east, we know that they will not be just in the southbound lane, the eastbound lane. They will be partly in the westbound lane, another obstacle for those of us who travel 28 West. I ask that you deny this rezoning petition and let Romney stay a noisy town with a railroad track and cars that kick up dust without Circle K. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else opposed to this rezone?
My name is Trina Hubert. I live at 109 State Road, 28 West. My home is the one that they're proposing to put it in my backyard. Our home is only 126 feet away, not the backyard, my home, where I work and I live. Excuse me. We understood and have talked to several people that know that a lot of like the farmers around us, they have their own fueling station at their farms. They don't necessarily need it, so there might be a few farmers that will benefit from it, but not all the farmers will benefit from this. So we just don't feel like it's a significant benefit to counteract the downfall for us of dealing with the noise and the fumes. I'm really worried about the fumes. They're awful. My home is actually off of 28, so we're actually down a private drive. So the only thing behind me is the field. And when I bought the home only 3 years ago, paid top dollar for this house, and it was because it was surrounded by nature. We have the creek in front of us, and we've got the farm field behind us, so we have nowhere to go. You put this truck station in my backyard, we're stuck there. We just bought the home. We're stuck there. We cannot move. We financially couldn't do it. We're stuck. We don't have an option. They said something about a berm, but we haven't been given any details about how high it is, and then today they're saying something about another line of trees. We have not been given any of this information. We don't know how high the berm is. We don't know where the tree line is going to be. We have not been given any of this information in detail of what we're supposed to expect. And then another big thing, so beyond the house value and exhaust fumes, is our water well. We are on a well. So if there's ever a truck spill or runoff from leaky trucks getting into their what is it called, the little pond thingy?
Retention pond.
Retention pond, yeah. Anything that goes in there, we're actually kind of downhill from the field. So any runoff, anything like that comes from them goes right to us. So we're just like right downhill from them, in between them and the creek. So we're just like stuck in a hard place, basically. We don't really know how to feel about this, and we're really, really, really worried that we're the ones that get stuck in a home that we can't sell, and all these things could happen. And we could be the ones losing money. We could be the ones drinking contaminated water. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
My name is John Hubert, and I live at 109 State Road 28 West, right next to the land that's proposed to be rezoned. A couple of months ago, a few residents had the chance to meet with Brendan O'Hara. He started by saying that this is not a truck stop, as a truck stop has showers, restaurant, parking spots. And his own words were, "We don't have any of that stuff. We just have extra pumps separate from customer cars to get gas and then pull out of a separate entrance." So we specifically asked about parking spots to make sure there would not be any. Brendan assured us that there would not be any parking spots. He also said that if there were any change at all, that he would give everyone plenty of notice. Nobody was told anything about a change in plan to have parking a little over 100 feet from our house with headlights pointed at our bedrooms. So we feel lied to. But we also brought up property values, appreciation rates, and sellability. It's something that Circle K has yet to refute or rebut to me. And we have not been in our house for very long, as my wife already said, so any drop in value or appreciation rate will hurt us quite a bit. And Brendan agreed that this was a legitimate concern, and when he spoke to Circle K, they rejected any idea of comfort or compensation. And Brendan used the word absurd to describe their unwillingness to attempt to help our situation. So I will ask Circle K directly, because they have not addressed it to me before. Can you guarantee no ill effect to property value, appreciation rate, or sellability? And at the area plan committee meeting, it was mentioned that the closest truck filling station was 12 miles away. So I remind the Commission that it's your job to help people in the communities. And you should regard, I'm quoting law here, property values, comfort, morals, and general welfare. And I will also bring up that the Area Plan Commission reports recommend denial, even after laws were changed to allow for general business instead of industrial. So now I ask the Commission, is hurting members of a small community worth making a handful of truckers' lives 15 minutes more convenient? And would you want to live with a truck station in your backyard where there is no guarantee parking won't happen? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wanting to speak opposed?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to speak on this matter. My name is Joe Reynolds Hanson, located at 100 State Road 28 West. Right out of the gate, I'm a little bit conflicted on this matter for personal reasons, so I'm going to try to respectfully struggle my way through this. Romney is a small town. It's got a minimal amount of residents. I do not feel that a fueling center is appropriately needed in this area. I'm not a truck driver. I will be affected by traffic in the area. I feel like the road system will be affected by the traffic in this area. I don't know if the county or NDOT has done a study in regard to the traffic. I know the Circle K representative has said that there were somewhere around 6,000 trucks per day in the area, and then no one's concerned about the amount of trucks that could be stopping. To say that 25 or so trucks can stop in this area seems a little absurd after you just mentioned that there's 6,000 trucks traveling on this road. So that's kind of contradictory, in my opinion. I'd also like to point out the fact that some of the language and the categorization was changed in regard to a gas station truck stop fueling center. Not to mention the fact that Amendment 116 was just kind of slid in, and there's no separation rules anymore. You've totally done away with the separation. Is everybody in the county aware that this could affect them? Except for Dayton, of course, because they didn't adapt this rule or regulation to their community. But is everybody aware? I don't feel like anyone had proper notification. I feel like it's very weighted. We were at odds before we even got the letter. We are not land use attorneys. We don't know anything about unified zoning ordinances, but now we had to take a crash course in it. I don't have the backing of a major corporation. I don't have funding for an attorney. I can only research what's available to me. At the same time, I didn't get notification that this amendment was even on the table as a resident of this county. If you're not sitting and watching the agenda and the meeting coming up, you would never have known this. I don't feel like, in all fairness, that was right. I don't feel like it was appropriate to have been done to the residents of this county. You can't just do away with an ordinance to fit the benefit of development or growth. I understand we need growth in the county, but to have done that, I don't feel like that was right. I don't feel like that was right. That affects everybody in our district. And do they know it? Who's protecting us from things like that happening? Had I known that that was on the table, I probably could have stepped forward and said something in regard to it. There's no separation rule now in place. So we're going to put up some trees and a sign. I don't feel like that's right. I feel like that was an injustice to the residents of the district. And again, I'm not against growth. I'm really not, when it's appropriately needed and appropriately placed. And I am in opposition of this. I'm in great opposition of this. And I'm the, as far as I know, on the north side, I'm the closest one to it. And I just hope that you take those things into consideration. You know, what was right, what was done correctly and appropriately for the residents in regard to making amendments and changing the wording. What was done right? I don't feel like any of it was. And I appreciate you letting me say my piece.
Thank you. Anyone else in opposition? Kevin, any comments?
Yeah, we have a few, thank you very much. I'm going to say a couple things, and Brendan has a couple of points in rebuttal as well. With respect to the amendment, I think you all know this went through the proper channels, the ordinance. We were at the ordinance committee, then area plan, then the commissioners, city council. So this was something that was handled publicly and pursuant to the ordinance. I realize I handed you some pictures of semi-trucks with no explanation, so I apologize. Those are trucks that currently park along State Road 28. As my understanding is, generally they're using the gas station that exists to the north. So our thought would be that this would help alleviate some of those issues because you've got trucks, semi-trucks that just, as I understand it, park on State Road 28. So that was the purpose of providing those photos to you. I apologize for not giving an explanation.
So these are not trucks waiting at the traffic signal. They're actually
Right, that's my
parked
understanding.
there.
Very rare, very, very.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else?
I lost my notes here. Part of my job as a real estate developer and broker, dealing with big companies and then landowners and neighbors and folks, is to be a conduit of information. I'm going somewhere with this, which leads to an apology to Mr. Hubert about the miscommunication on parking. Part of my job is to kind of beat the crap out of Circle K to get them to do certain things and then coordinate with the landowners and remonstrance to sort of move everybody to the middle. Oftentimes, this is an unfulfilling and tough process, and I'm no different than other human beings in that I think somewhere along the way, I determined that the Huberts and Joe, and Dana, you can remind me of who else, but particularly the Huberts and Joe Reynolds, there wasn't, we made concessions on the landscaping, we decided to do the berm, we did the fence, and I sort of determined at some point personally that there was nothing that we were going to be able to do that would satisfy them other than to not build the store. And coming to that point, I think I just, as it relates to the parking, I also learned some things through this process about the semi-parking. I initially, when we were going through this, I told Circle K, just don't do semi-parking. That's what they want. It's a reasonable request, and just don't do it. They have operational reasons they want to do it, and working with Dana and sort of understanding the traffic patterns, I realized, okay, wait, semis are actually parking on State Road 28 anyway. So you have this problem that you kind of need to solve for, and putting on-site parking actually does solve for that problem. There's another, even if you take it away, there's probably something else that happens. If the trucks are coming in and they pull to the pump, it's conceivable that more trucks pull in than there are pumps, and so you have someone stacked behind. What happens if the guy wants to go in and take a bathroom break or, buy merchandise or coffee or candy or something? You basically have people parking anyway, and then you're waiting. So I think it solves that problem as well. We're going to sign it. There's not going to be overnight parking. This is all daily traffic. Anybody who's lived in a small town like this, which I qualify for because I lived in Remington, Indiana for 2 years. But semis are not going to park here longer than 15 or 20 minutes. They're going to get on the road because this is daily traffic. It's not like I-65 semi-truck traffic where, like, I just drove down to Florida, I was on I-75. I mean, it just semis all day long, all night long. So, but I do apologize to Mr. Hubert. There was a miscommunication about that. I started this process that I thought the parking was not appropriate, and I moved through it. That changed, and I didn't communicate that to him, so I apologize. The last thing I would remind you guys is that 64 people signed a letter of support, and that includes the town trustee, the 2 sewer board members, and I believe the fire chief, or if the fire chief didn't sign it, he's in favor of it. So that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else have anything to say?
Sorry.
Or any guarantee of property value loss.
There is no guarantee.
Do you want to hear from me on any?
No, just the berm, the trees.
Sure. The berm is what is required by the ordinance. It is 3-foot-high berm. It's got a row of evergreens and a row of shrubbery, and then we are committing to adding a second row of evergreens, and that extends along the west portion of the property. There's also a berm to the south. The south would not include the second row of evergreens, but it would include the other things that I had mentioned.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, board. Any questions from the board? Okay, Jennifer? Oh, wait a minute. Do we need a motion on the commitment first?
Why don't you amend your motion to include the commitment?
Yes, I will amend my motion to include the commitment.
And I will second that amended motion.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to include the commitment. Jennifer?
Murtaugh,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Byers.
Yes.
Ordinance 2025-10 CM passes 3-0.
Okay, we have another.
All right. Mr. President, I will make a motion. We hear ordinance 2025-11-CM, ALEC LLC A2R1.
Second.
Okay,
All
Ryan?
right. Well, we have this is basically a very small little area that's being considered for rezoning in order to accommodate, I think, a larger project effort to the west. A proposal for a single-family subdivision on that area, including this area, is what's on the table. And so this adjustment from A to R1 is to kind of add R1 zone land to service that effort. The township's plan recommends very broadly, residential development that is consistent with kind of the AW type of environment, and this is just because of the adjacent floodplain areas and wooded related wooded areas. It seemed to kind of fit into that category. Taking a sharper lens onto the site, though, this is not really that out of the realm of possibility. There's already existing R1 land there. This little strip really is not impacting in any negative way the prescriptions of the plan. So we feel that it's in general conformity, and that the issues that we bring out related to the proposed 231 extension and how that this proposal would connect with the public streets really could be handled kind of at the subdivision stage. So we have no objections. We are recommending approval. Happy to answer any questions.
So you are taking in consideration in case 231 does expand of how it might hit?
Yes, yeah. The main fixed point is the bridge adjacent to Hadley Lake, and it's roughly where the existing county road is. And I say bridge, it's mostly just, it would likely be a glorified culvert. And so they're right on its doorstep. And so in our opinion, in a subdivision process, it sort of makes sense to add land to the north of the greenhouse and then have an intersection at that point, and then they could come in to the site. So this rezone might set up a situation where there could be a potential temporary entry point until we have the full path laid out. And there would not be, again, because it wouldn't be necessarily a bridge, it's not going to be inclining to go over the water course and then coming down to get to the other side. So it'll likely be pretty flush, and so there could be a temporary entry point, on this property that's in question in a pinch as we, as a temporary condition.
Okay.
So.
Thank you. Petitioner.
Good morning, Andy Gutwein, Gutwein Law, 250 Main Street, here in Lafayette. Here, just to answer any questions, Ryan's explained the staff's position. We do think that access will be addressed as part of the subdivision process, but this just takes some land that was originally zoned R1, rezoned to ag. The Galamas aren't using this for their greenhouse operations, so it's just essentially rezoning it back to R1 now. And it's as Ryan mentioned, it's a small strip of property to facilitate the larger operation. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions?
No, sir.
Anyone in the audience like to speak in favor or opposed to this rezone? Jennifer?
Byers,
Yes.
Murtaugh,
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Ordinance 2025-11 passes 3-0.
Okay, we have one more. We're getting there, everybody.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion. We hear ordinance 2025-12-CM, BA Holdings, A to R1.
Second.
Okay, nearly done. This rezoning proposal, again, the township's plan is doing its job. It does recommend agricultural transition, which is basically continuing agricultural uses until such time that facilities and the marketplace sort of push an area to want to go to something else. And in this instance, the R1A zone certainly meets that land use category. So no objections here for this proposal. I believe it's 123 lots, single-family detached. Happy to answer any questions, otherwise we are in favor.
I do think I need to amend my motion because the agenda said R1, but it's R1A.
Oh, did they, they didn't, on the, one in here? Are you, what is it? R1A? It's R1A, okay.
Yes.
They do want R1A.
Okay,
So,
okay.
is that what was put on the floor?
I said R1, but I just amended it to R1A.
Okay.
If the amendment gets accepted.
Second.
Okay. Petitioner.
Morning, Kevin Riley with RTS Law, representing the petitioner. Appreciate Brian's comments. I don't have a lot to add. I did want to mention we do have will serve letters from ASU and Indiana American Water for water and sewer. Area Plan staff recommended approval, and we received a recommendation of approval at Area Plan Commission. Request your approval, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Anyone from the audience like to speak in favor or opposed to this rezone? Well, we're moving along now. Okay, Jennifer?
Brown,
Yes.
Byers,
Yes.
Murtaugh.
Yes.
Ordinance 2025-12 CM passes 3-0.
All right. Have one more, subdivision. Anybody want to make a motion?
Mr. President, I move that we hear.
But this one is not an ordinance.
It's a subdivision variance request.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, this is concerning what is known as the Winborn Rural Estate. It's an RE-zoned piece of property. And they are requesting a subdivision variance, which this body must approve in advance of final approval by either the APC or the executive committee of the APC. The fairly simple situation here, the proposal, one of its lots it would like to have access from the subdivision to the county road, but not through the public or the private street that this rural estate subdivision is creating, because there is a stream running through, and they did not see the need to spend much money on a bridge just to serve one house lot. And as it stands, the easement is running through property that the developer already owns, and so staff really has no objections to this. Honestly, it's less disruptive to the natural environment and more expedient for everyone. So we are recommending approval of this variance request. Happy to answer any questions. And if approved, it would then go on to the executive committee for final approval.
Has this been vetted through highway? I mean, or would they happen?
I mentioned it to Stu, and so he's more than welcome.
Okay. Okay.
They acknowledge their approval.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion. We approve the subdivision variance S5262 Winborn Real Estate subdivision.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second to approve this variance as described. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Okay, I believe we're up to community corrections now.
Good morning. I am requesting approval for an agreement with Purdue University to utilize their range for surveillance officers completing their qualifications. I would note that previously, we had been charged to utilize this. However, they've agreed to waive fees for us due to the minimal usage of it. So,
I also noticed they have a built-in increase of 10% on nothing, so. Any comments from you, Doug?
No, it looked good to me.
Mr. President, I move that we would approve this facility use agreement between Community Corrections and Purdue University as outlined.
Second.
Motion and second to approve this agreement. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes.
thank you.
Thank you. The next agenda item will be taken off for now. We feel it's probably best to wait and see what happens out of the federal and state government to how much we proceed. We have with Tecton Construction Management contract.
All right. This is a contract for construction management services on the chiller replacement program for this building and the courthouse. It's in the amount of $5,000 for design management and $3,500 for the bidding process.
Second.
Motion and second to approve this contract with Tecton as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Proposal for design services with HEPE.
All right. This is for the same project, again, for the chiller replacement project for this building in the courthouse. And this is for design of the services, design of the project in the amount of $70,000.
Second.
Motion and second to approve this proposal for design services. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. We have two interlocal agreements with Benton and Clinton County.
Yeah, these agreements have to do with city bus being able to provide services in adjacent counties. The way the statute's set up, there's got to be approval by the commissioners of both counties. The reality is that I think the city of Lafayette is the most directly concerned with the operations of city bus, and so they're the ones kind of running the show on this, but it does require you guys to give your blessing.
Mr. President, I'd move that we approve the interlocal cooperation agreement between City Bus and Clinton County and City Bus and Benton County.
Yeah, I will second that. I'll also add that, this is not to run actual buses into those counties. It's to run a van program for employers in either county to utilize for their employers for ride shares.
Okay. Motion is second to approve both of these interlocal agreements. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Grants. Sharon, looks like we got one MOU.
I'd like to ask permission to have the MOU signed for youth services for a contract under the JDAI regular grant for the Community Accountability Board member, Donna Warner, to assist with the handgun intervention program. And there are 6 families currently participating.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second to approve this MOU contract. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes.
Thank you.
We have an appointment to HR Human Relations Commission.
Mr. President, I'd move that we appoint Linda Sue, is it pronounced Fight, F-I-C-H-T, to a vacant position, the term to expire at 12/31/2027.
Second.
Motion is second to approve this appointment. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Any unfinished or new business? Reports on file. We have from the Building Commission, Central Mail Accounts Payable and Duplications, Clerk of the Circuit Court, Tippecanoe Public Library, and the Treasurer. These reports will be in the Commissioner's office for public viewing. Any public comment? Hearing none?
I do have one other thing to add, and I don't have the document in front of me right now, but I wanted to make note of the fact that our bid opening process for the Buck Creek Colburn wastewater treatment system has been pushed back. I believe it's approximately 1 week, and that was based on a meeting with potential bidders last Wednesday. So that's just an FYI.
You do have a meeting Thursday.
Yeah, and we also have the meeting for IDEM. It's the final stage on our end. It's a public hearing dealing with the creation of the RSD, that regional sewer district. That meeting will be at East Tip Middle School on Thursday, April 10th. Starts for the public at 5:30 with just an information session, and then followed by IDEM's actual public hearing.
Thank you. Last motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.